Hi and welcome to the Bookkeepers Podcast. I'm Zoe Whitman. I'm in South Wales and today I haven't got Jo with me, unfortunately. She's not very well, but I am very excited to be joined by Kimba Cooper. How are you doing, Kimba?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be here and talk to all of your members. It's very cool. Thank you.
Oh, it was really nice to have you here. Well, for anyone who is watching us live, join in the conversation. Let us know you're here. Ask Kimba your questions because I always love it when we've got a really interactive session. But Kimba, I know you really well from social media. I think we've been in the same circles in Bristol, and I wonder if you can start because not everyone will be as familiar with what you do as I am. But do you want to start by just telling us a little bit about who you are and what your background is?
Yeah, okay. So I am, how do I describe this now? So my name's Kimba and my business is Kimba Digital. Now, it's Kimba Digital because we have done digital stuff for a long time. So our business has gone through a process of change over the years, started off running a digital marketing agency and then a social media agency. And then I taught Instagram for a long time. And now we are guiding people, I like to say, about gamification. So whether that's through teaching them how to do it for themselves or consulting, putting a strategy in place, and then they implement. That's what we're doing at the moment, which is exciting and quite new to us as well, which is very cool.
Well, it's really interesting. And I think that if you don't mind me saying, bookkeepers who are watching this right now, who sometimes feel nervous introducing themselves or who have joined the bookkeeping space, they're starting their businesses and they've come from a different place and they're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm new here. Not that they don't belong, but it definitely feels difficult to get those words out of your mouth when you're new to something. And it's been really interesting to talk to you today when you've just launched something new, because you've said, actually, I haven't really gone through this introduction before.
So it is all relatively new. So we actually announced this last week. And as I was saying to you just before we came live, I've done hundreds of guest experts. I've been on loads of podcasts. I've been interviewed, I've been on radio and TV and all that kind of stuff before. So that stuff doesn't make me nervous. But this is a new topic. So I have been nervous about this because it's not something that I've had much chance to answer questions about. It's not like, I've been doing Instagram for the past couple of years where I have an answer for everything and anecdotes that I've tried and tested and I know what makes people laugh and all that kind of stuff. This is brand new. So even, somebody who's a bit more experienced, I've that hated word pivoted. And now I'm in that whole, that butterflies in the tummy, new, exciting, but also nerve-wracking space of, oh, I'm doing this new thing. Even though I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm talking about, I've got experience, it's still natural to feel that way. So, yeah.
Yeah, everyone's pivoted. I'm the queen of pivoting. Everyone pivots and you have to. And also, even if you've been running a business for a really long time, like you have, and then you see another opportunity and it's the right time and everything's lining up for you to make that happen, you have to go and chase after it, don't you? So no, that it's cool. I think pivoting is a good thing. Do you want to tell us what gamification means? So I think this might be a new word.
Yeah, so some people might know what gamification is, and it's one of those words that I think either gives you this preconceived idea or you have no idea what it is at all. So some people think, oh, gamification is just making things fun, or gamification is a way to manipulate people into doing what you want them to do, or it's an outdated term because it's been around for 20 years, or they don't know what it is at all. So even the experts have different descriptions of what they think gamification is. But for me, it's quite simply looking at things that when you were playing a game as a kid or as an adult, and it was so compelling, you had to get to the end, you had to beat the other person, looking at the things in games that make you motivated to keep going or to finish, taking those little tools and little tactics and adding them into whatever you want in life or business to get better results for you. So, some people talk about, all these different jargony terms, game mechanics, game elements. It's just looking at what works in games and applying it elsewhere to see if it can work to get better results for you. And it's something that is exciting and is interesting, and it can be used for fun, but not everything in gaming, if you think about games you've played, is necessarily fun. Sometimes it can be difficult, sometimes it can be challenging, sometimes it can be scary, but different people are motivated by different things. And that's something that I have found to be very interesting, and is why I kind of decided to go into it, really.
Oh, fab. Okay, so how have you used gamification then before you decided this would be the new part of your business? What do you do?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so so this kind of came to be because my other half mentioned to me, because he's really into exercise and I have to push myself to exercise regularly. And he said to me, he was like, so what challenge are you doing at the minute? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you only ever exercise when you create a challenge for yourself. And I was like, oh yeah, I've not really thought about it before. Like I'd do a 30-day push-ups challenge, or I'd do, maybe I'd train for the half marathon. I'd always create or make up something to make myself exercise regularly. And when I wasn't doing that, I just wouldn't exercise. And then I thought about it and I was like, oh gosh, I've been doing this for everything. Like I do it for like reading so that I'll fit more reading in. I do a thing where I think about the things that I'd like to achieve in the next year that will make me happier and healthier. And I make a big list. And so I gamified that. And then the more I thought about it, the more I realized I was doing it in every part of my business as well, without even realizing. So I've been doing it in my challenges. I've been doing it in my launches. I've been doing it to get better results for my clients in my courses. We did it in our live events. And like, it was helping me to get better results for me, but also for my customers. And I didn't even notice I was doing it. And so then I was like, I need to be looking into this a little bit more. And kind of sidestep from this, in my spare time, I'm a semi-professional hula hooper.
Yes, that's so cool. Like the coolest person I know.
It's such a Bristol thing though, isn't it? Like to be that. Anyway, so I was doing that in my spare time maybe 10 years ago. And I was using games on Instagram and on Facebook to find other people to interact with. I became sponsored by an American hula hoop company and I used the gamification methods. I didn't know it was called that then. It was just something I did to outsell the other hula hoop sponsees by 10 times. So I've been using it in my personal and my business life for as long as I can remember. And the more I think about it, the more examples I can find in my past as well of me doing this. It's like, oh gosh, I've been doing this naturally forever. It's probably time for me to start telling other people about it, especially when I realized it was actually a thing and people have been doing this for a long time and nobody talks about it. Like nobody talks about it.
No, they don't. So someone's just said here that she needs to do this for general work, just gamifying general work. So what kind of things would you be setting yourself targets or like time?
Okay, so there's so many things you can do. So I think you saw a post I did about this. So I've been teasing everybody about this forever and putting loads of clues out there for a long time. And one of the ones that I put out, which I think you guessed actually, Zoe, was I said that I gamify doing my emails. I hate emails, okay? I'm not an email person, but I have to do it because it's part of my business. You can't just not do the parts of your business you don't like. So I would set myself a timer and I would say, right, put my timer on for 10 minutes. How many emails can I get through in 10 minutes? Which is better than not doing it at all. Then the next day I would say, right, all I need to do is get better than my result from yesterday. I'm going to do as many emails as I can in 10 minutes and just get better results than yesterday, and so on and so on. And you said, oh, I love how you're gamifying your emails. And I thought, oh, she's guessed.
I didn't realize I'd guessed. Okay, that's what I think I am.
No, but it was great. Well, I couldn't tell you that you'd guessed because some of my team didn't even know what we were doing. So I kind of kept it quiet. But, you can gamify anything. It doesn't have to be complicated. One thing that I do, in fact, I wasn't planning on showing this, and it's all crumpled. But this is for my reading. So I have the book I want to read, and then I have the dates, and then I put in how many pages I want to read each day. And then I just cross it off as I go along. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated to make it a bit more engaging, a bit more fun, a bit more interesting than just, oh God, I have to do my emails. Oh God, I have to read this blooming research book,
Yeah. I can't help thinking with things, so like with emails as well, if you've got this kind of limit on how much time you're allowed, like how much time you're kind of allowing yourself, then this encourages you to do, we talk about automation a lot. So this is going to encourage you to put things in place that will mean, like I'm thinking of one of the ladies in our group, Emma, is brilliant at having pre-written like keyboard shortcuts. So she will type in a phrase and then it will just fill out with all of the like pre-programmed stuff. And if you can put things like that in that are going to automate some of your responses, if you've got templates and stuff, then you can do it quicker and you're going to be looking for the ways that you can cut out, because a lot of the time it's just that we haven't got an efficient process. It's just that we haven't realized that we're doing a repetitive process, and that's why we don't want to do it. And also like sorry, go on.
No, the repetitive processes are probably the best ones to gamify, because the thing is around gamification is it's about different types of motivation, and things that are interesting are inherently motivating. You're naturally motivated to do those things because they're interesting or they're fun. The boring things are the things you have to put effort in to make you want to do more of it, or your team, those things as well. So exactly what you're saying is a perfect example.
Yeah, I mean, I've been writing a couple of articles this week, and I just, for some reason, could not get my head down to focus on, like, I literally had it written and I had to just go through it, and I knew there were it was just a bit clumsy. Just wanted to change a few things. And I knew if I just spent the time, sat down, and in the end I had to go, right, I've got half an hour until I've got another meeting. I have to do it now, because if I don't do it, I'm not going to get it. It was more that I won't get it done. But I suppose it's that same giving myself a limit. Do you then like reward yourself if you beat your time or beat your, I don't know, is there an incentive at the end?
You can do. So it depends. So like for that example, that works well for me because of my personality type. And there are different player types in the game world so for me, I'm motivated by achieving. That's the kind of person I am. Some people are motivated by different things. So you have to recognize the type of person you are. It might be that you are like Zoe in that example, motivated by a deadline, or the fact that you won't be able to get it done otherwise. You might be externally motivated better by other people, so you might need to bring in an accountability buddy. You might be motivated by rewards, so give yourself a reward. You might be motivated by taking something away if you don't do it. So I can't remember who this was, but an example I heard ages ago was somebody said that if they didn't do something for 30 days, I think it was they were trying to give up burgers or something, that they had a check written to somebody that they hated. They really disliked Oprah. And they gave it to their friend, and they said, if you catch me eating a burger, it probably wasn't a burger, I can't remember what it was. If you catch me eating a burger in these 30 days, you send this check to Oprah. So for that person,
it was like a Freakonomics thing or something.
Yes. So yeah, exactly. So it's about figuring out what motivates you, and that's a big part of gamification, is figuring out what motivates your audience, your players, whoever it is, whether you're trying to use it in your marketing or to motivate yourself personally. You have to know what works right for you. So it's all well and good me saying, put a timer on, but for some people they might be like, so what? Like, I'll get to 10 minutes and I'll just ignore the timer. I'll just ignore it. Or like, having a timer isn't going to make me start, so you need to understand a bit more about what motivates you. And that's a big part of gamification as well, is actually understanding people's motivations. It's fascinating, and I can't get enough of it.
I can tell how excited you are. I'm excited. I'm picking it up. I'm going to gamify my life now. I have like a list of things I have to do every day, and I have to work through it, so I know that those things are done. And it's because I find it quite hard to stay on top of the to-dos. And I'm just thinking about, in our industry, in bookkeeping, a lot of the work is about like number of transactions. It's transaction volume. You're going through and you're dealing with your clients' accounts, and you've got 100 transactions to reconcile, or God help the person who opens up someone's account and there's like 4,000 transactions to reconcile. It happens sometimes. And I expect there are a lot of people listening to this who are thinking, well, there must be a way that I could incentivize myself or gamify this for myself so that I'm more motivated to just sit down, because it's the kind of thing you think, oh, I've started this, I've got to, I don't know when I'm going to start because I don't want to do it. Or you just, you dread that moment and you put it off until you get to a deadline, I suppose.
Well, I mean, another way you could do this particular example of, like, if you've got a really ridiculously long task that you're like, oh, how am I going to get through this? So on the weekend, I did a charity cycle ride. I don't like cycling. I do not like cycling. I was doing it for charity, and I figure if you're going to do something like that, you should do something you don't like. And it was 64 miles, and there was thunderstorms, 50-mile-an-hour winds, and hailstones, and it was an actual nightmare, right? So I didn't realize this until afterwards, but I was gamifying myself to get through it. So rather than going, I have to cycle 64 miles, I was thinking, where is the next feed stop? And that once I get to the next feed stop, I get a hot chocolate and I get to decide then whether I want to continue or not. So I would do that, and I did that until lunch, and then I did that until the next one. Obviously, I finished it, but I realized that I was gamifying myself to get to the finish line. And you could do that with something where you've got 4,000 transactions. You could actually tell yourself and be truthful about it. I'm only going to do 30. I'm going to do 30 right now, and then I'm going to see how I feel. Because then what's happened is, even if you don't do more than 30, you've done 30, and you wouldn't have done that before. So it's, yeah, it's not about, it's kind of about tricking yourself, I guess, in that instance, but in a fun way, and in a way that you're still going to achieve something even if you don't finish the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, someone's put, I will come on to the marketing side of things in a minute, but someone's just popped up here. I'd love to know how we can use it to incentivize clients to provide work, which is...
there's loads of ways.
Oh, okay, let's talk about that, because I think this is one of our biggest challenges, and we particularly topical for us right now, or it's been delayed now, but when the way that we're moving, well, I suppose we've got tax returns in January. That's going to be a big thing coming up, and it's really hard to get people to bring stuff in January, but actually for bookkeepers, just every month there's stuff that you need every single month, and people don't always get it to you, and they've always got an excuse, and it's the last thing, it's their last priority, and maybe they'll give you 3 months in one go when they feel like it. We're going to have this in January as well with tax returns. So what can people do to gamify it for clients?
So, I mean, if I was to have this as like somebody come to me on a one-to-one consultation basis and say, how do I do this? We'd work through a process. So we'd figure out, so the objective is obviously to get more people to hand you more stuff on time. So then we'd need to look at your clients and what motivates them. So then once we've figured that out, we can figure out what we can actually put in place to make more of them pass those things on to you on time. So for example, if they are motivated, okay, so this is something you could try, but it would only work on certain personality types. You could tell them that your price for the month is a set amount, but there is a price for delay on handing you information. So, you know, if they hand you receipts 3 days, 10 days, 30 days late, then there's going to be a charge, because obviously, you know, your teams, all that kind of stuff. Now, there is a thing whereby if you're charging a tenner and the business is a multi-million-pound company, they're going to just say, yeah, whatever, it's not worth my time. But if it's double, triple, quadruple the cost, it might make a difference. Some people might not be motivated by that. Some people might be motivated by, you could put together a leaderboard of your clients, and you could be like, these people always give me their stuff on time, so they're right at the top. These people, you know, have been late this month, so they go down a little bit. But again, some people will be demotivated by that rather than motivated, because they'll feel like they can never get to the top. Some people will be motivated by, I don't know, you could create a client group on Facebook or elsewhere, and you could say, put them all in there together and get them to encourage each other and buddy up, because some people are encouraged by other people more than by achieving. There's so many things you could do, but again, without me knowing all of your individual client personality types and player types, I couldn't say exactly. But like, can you see already? It's just like, you can already see. I'm sure a lot of you listening, watching, will be thinking of a client that would be motivated by one of the things I just said. So, yeah.
I think they're ideas. Kath is saying that double the cost for late information sounds good. So I'm excited to see what people do to their pricing. Brilliant. Okay, so you now, like you said before, your background is in marketing though. So you've sort of taken this pivot based on your own personal interests, I suppose. Did you see that there was this real challenge in the marketing space as well though, with people? I don't know. I'm thinking like, you think you're going to go and do loads of marketing, and then you just actually end up doing all the day job work. Do you have that kind of challenge with your clients?
What, before when I was running an agency, do you mean?
Yeah, just thinking. I'm just wondering how you've experienced this problem and how you've found that gamification is going to support people in the marketing space.
So it's more around, so the areas that I'm going to be focusing in are the areas that I have experience in. So helping people to gamify their courses, their launches, so that's challenge and affiliate launches, their memberships, their online events, and their social media, because those are the areas that I've seen, I have the most experience and I have seen good results in. Because you can gamify everything, but I had to be niching into an area that made sense for me. But the same kind of problems came up in all of those, in that people were desperate for engagement. in their social media, in their challenges, in their courses, and they just weren't seeing it. People weren't maybe getting as good results out of, you know, their students going through their courses as they might have liked. People weren't completing things till the end. You know, they weren't getting to the end of their 5-day challenges, or they weren't completing the courses. And you can see, you know, all these people that they're teaching something, or they're sharing things on social media in the hopes that their audience gets something out of it. And not everybody does. And so when I realized that I could use gamification, as I've just described, by looking at people's motivations and creating systems that take people on a journey that makes sense for them, everyone gets better results. So everybody gets better results in terms of students on their courses, but also the business owner running it. People, you know, get more engagement in their social media. And what does that actually mean? Because engagement's one of those things. It means more people are paying attention to what you're doing. It means more people are going to be watching when you're selling something. It means more people will buy from you, ultimately, which is the only real business goal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is a challenge. Well, you picked up on social media, and I know that this is going to be a challenge. I was talking to some of our bookkeepers yesterday about their social media, and it's one thing saying, I'm going to go out and do this, or I've got a plan. And then it's another thing actually finding the time. And yeah, well, it's all about getting people to get on the phone with you, isn't it? And have a conversation. So it's what, even if you can't even get something out on social media, how are you going to be having conversations on social media with people and bringing them over?
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough. And I think one of the great things about gamification as well is you can use it to do market research. So you can play games with your audience on social media, you know, do polls, do quizzes, all that kind of stuff, to find out more about them, to find out what they actually want to see from you on social, because you might be putting out one thing and they might be wanting something else. And you can then use that information to create, you know, games within your social media content that will keep them engaged, that will keep them interested, that will get them to know, like, and trust you, so that when they do need a new bookkeeper, you're the one they think of first. And you're not like all the other bookkeepers who are just posting pictures of them on their laptop.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. So tell us about how you do that then. You said about polls and quizzes. What kind of things could bookkeepers do then to get that engagement?
Oh, there's so much you could be doing. So I think the first thing I would say is that kind of market research piece. So to be just putting polls out there to say, you know, do you want to see more videos from me, or do you want to see more written content? Do you want to know more how-tos, or do you want to know more about how I work? You know, it's simple this or that questions, which they look to the audience like, you know, this is just an easy click. But actually it's really useful information for your business. And one of the things that you should be doing is making it as easy as possible for people to engage, because why should they? You know, why should they engage with your content? They could just scroll past it without thinking. So if you make it as easy as possible, then they're more likely to engage. And the more that they do engage, you kind of are training them to continue to engage with that stuff. So yeah, start with the market research. And then when you have an idea about what they want, you can then start to use some of the technology and the tools that is already available to you. Like, people don't even realize this, but, you know, Instagram stories, Facebook, you know, a lot of them have gamification stuff built in that you can use easy peasy, and will make your content so much more interesting than the next person who's just doing a plain post. And it can be as simple as asking a question and then giving them A, B, or C choices. And then all the audience has to do is put an A or B or a C into the comments. And the more people that comment with an A or a B and C, the more the more people that platform will show that content to, because it's showing as an engaged piece of content. But I think one of the main things you have to think about is not to just play games for the sake of it. Mm-hmm. People can see through that. Like, they can see when you're just like having a bit of fun. And whilst that some people will want to play just for the sake of it, it is much better if you can to bring it back to your business somehow, so that they are thinking about your services whilst they're playing that game.
That's really interesting. And like you said, I use stories a lot on Instagram, and I'll put poll stickers up just to ask people anything really. But it's a way to start the engagement, because I'm in stories a lot. But I don't think that I get, if you can make it really easy for people to reply, or they know that you want them to reply, then they're more likely to do that. I love the idea of using it to find out more about what people want to hear from you, because I think that's a big challenge for us on social media.
Yeah, I think if people are struggling, we do have like a pack of 30 templates that people can buy, and it's just very simple Instagram story stuff. We will bring out more in the future for people who don't like Instagram stories. I know not everybody likes them, but it can be like, okay, now I want to play games and I want to do this, but I don't even know where to begin. So we created a bunch of templates in Canva that people can just buy and download if people want.
That sounds amazing. So they can go and change them with their own branding, and they can ask questions that are relevant to them. Amazing. Do you want to tell me how people can find out about that? And I'll just make sure we put the link up.
Best bet is to go to kimbadigital.com. So my name is spelled weird. It's KIMBA digital.com.
Okay, I've just popped that up on the screen, and we'll make sure that we share it in our group as well.
Swish.
Amazing. So how can people find out more about how they can work with you on gamification?
Go to the website, really. I mean, you can follow me on Instagram. As we've discussed, I was teaching people Instagram, so that's kind of my main hangout. But if you are on social media elsewhere, please just check us out. We're Kimba Digital absolutely everywhere. And we actually have a quiz people can do as well if they're interested, which is, have you ever wondered if you could get better results from your courses, challenges, or social media? It's 3 minutes. And I'll give you the link for that as well if you want.
Yeah, perfect. Do you want to tell me afterwards, and I'll add it to the show notes for anyone who's watching?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. I think everyone's got so many amazing ideas now of how they can just incentivize ourselves, motivate ourselves to sit down and get on with that big task, and realize that we can actually break it into bite-sized chunks, and we get the decision. We get to have a hot chocolate when we've had a break. We get to decide whether we carry on or whether actually we do some more of it tomorrow. We've got some ideas for how we can reach out to our clients, and how we can find out more about from clients and potential clients about what they want to hear from us, but also to hear from clients about how we can help them to help us, because it helps us to start the conversation, doesn't it? And that's going to just make our lives so much easier. Oh, amazing. Well, thanks so much for taking the time for us today, Kimba. We will share those links in the show notes. It's kimbadigital.com, and we'll see you next week for another podcast. Take care, everyone. Bye.